Guys, we just recorded an amazing episode with Roberto Green. He's one of my friends, business partners, mentors in the game of flipping as well as wholesaling. He just closed on a deal that's worth $150,000 with a lead that he got from REI Lead Pros. This episode talks about the mindset that he had to go through, the patience, the discipline that he had to actually put into play. And it was just an inspiring episode for me just to sit here and record. I'm hoping you guys are going to get actionable steps out of this one as well. Please enjoy it. Contact Roberto. He's offering some amazing tips and actually free session that he's going to conduct with you for 30 seconds at the end of this call. But definitely go ahead and listen, and I hope you enjoy. All right, Roberto, let's cut straight to the chase here. We brought you a lead that results in a staggering, history-breaking for REI Lead Pros assignment fee of $150,000.
Yes.
Take me back to your first thought that went through your head when you realized that this is going to be such a big deal of $150,000.
Honestly, Anton, it was such a surreal feeling to even think of such a large number at the time, right? I was used to just making $20,000-$40,000, which is great in wholesaling, but to see something of this magnitude was really just surreal, to give it one word. And I wanted to be the standard, right? So I want to continue to break these deals and break these records. It sounds insane, but if I would have told you, a couple of months ago, hey, I'm gonna make $150,000 on a wholesale, you'd have been like, it's crazy. We made it happen thanks to REI call center. So want to definitely continue to expand and grow and make these deals happen.
I love that, man. I remember when we first met and you first started talking about doing wholesale deals, and I know that you were more involved in flipping, but then you started doing wholesaling.
Yes.
And what was your first wholesale deal? Can you go back and tell us how you got started in wholesaling in the first place?
Yeah, wholesaling. I mean, I started fixing and flipping basically after COVID. I was in the restaurant industry, took a huge hit. So I was looking for different opportunities to generate revenue. Real estate came about. I hired a coach to teach me how to fix and flip. And throughout that process, I understood that finding the deal is really the most important piece of fixing and flipping. To my understanding, being involved with FI investors and meeting you and connecting with you, I learned more about wholesaling, which is really the first piece where you don't have to always fix and flip your own deals if you find them, but when you find them, you're in full control. And that's when I really understood the power of wholesaling and the power of having contracts. So being able to assign a contract, having the seller locking the deal at a specific price and then selling it to a buyer at another price, I didn't even know that was possible, right? I didn't have to come up with, all this money to buy the property. I just had to have the right education. So really, wholesaling came with me seeking more understanding about the real estate world and everything that it offers, and really just diving deep into understanding what wholesaling was. And I got that from you and REI call center. So thank you.
Love that, man. I appreciate that. Let's go back to the beginning of this specific deal. When you got the lead from REI Lead Pros, what was your initial reaction to the actual lead? What caught your attention that really signaled a potential for this specific deal? Was it the motivation? Was it the property details, the location?
This deal was really intentional. When I say intentional, is because I was specifically looking for this property in this specific market, even down to the zip code, mainly because of a term that I learned, which was reverse wholesaling, which is finding the end buyer first and then finding what they're looking for, which made it a lot easier, right? So really what helped me was understanding the market. I was in Boston, Massachusetts, and really understanding what's going on, the development. I spoke to a lot of developers, investors. What I understood was that they're looking for 3-family homes in a specific zip code because there's a lot of development going around, and they're doing a lot of condo conversions, right? So to give you perspective, the condos at the time, which was like a year or so ago, they were selling for $900,000. So imagine buying a multifamily for $800,000 to $1 million, but then converting it to 3 condos that sold for $800 to $900. It's a $2.7 million sellout. So understanding that really piqued my interest, and that's why I started focusing on the zip code in PropStream.
Got it. And
Yeah,
you got the lead. The lead specifically had the 3 units.
3 units, correct.
You knew that this was something that the developers were doing or investors
Yes,
were doing. Did you already have a cash buyer at that point?
I did. I
Okay.
did. I already had it secured. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you knew. So once you saw the price, the lead, the location, the
Mm,
time, that's freaking cool, man. Awesome. Perfect. Let's talk a little bit about what is the what made this lead or deal truly extraordinary. Like, what was the
mm,
record breaking point where was it a specific conversation that you had
mm.
with the seller or with maybe even the buyer? What was that aha moment uh, for you regarding this one specifically?
In regards to the deal itself, I think it was just the amount of time that it took to make it happen. Right, this was over a year and a half ago.
Oh, wow.
That we really had the initial conversation with the homeowner. REI call center reached out to her. I followed up, and then I started focusing on acquisitions. I originally had this under contract for 1.15 with the owner, which was even still a little bit high, but knowing that you can convert the condos, we saw opportunity. The challenge was that there were tenants in the property and we had to evict them. And Massachusetts is a really tenant friendly state. So to evict somebody, it takes, 3-6 months or more.
Mhm.
And it did take that much time to the point that we almost lost this contract because we couldn't get the tenants out. Fortunately and unfortunately, there was a fire that happened in the property, which helped for two things. One, it got everybody out, so the property was vacant, and two, because it helped us drop the price. So instead of having the property in the contract for 1.15, it went down to 950,000 because I indicated to the seller, hey, we agreed at this price, but it was in this condition. There's a lot of damage that happened to this property, over $300,000 worth. Let's work on the price. Fortunately, she also got paid through a insurance company, so she got another $450,000 check. So it was a win-win for everybody, honestly. So
Wow.
she made about 1.4, 1.5 million on the property, um, and then I had it under contract for 950. I was then able to put it under contract. I pitched it to buyers because I had lost the original buyer, who was only going to buy it for me for $1 million because I had a good relationship with them. But once they backed out of the deal, I then pushed it out to other potential buyers for 1.15 because I knew that hard money lenders would have approved it for 1.2. So understanding that as well, having good relationships with hard money lenders and what they would approve investors for, I was like, let me test my luck. So I put it for 1.15 and I had an investor who offered me 1.1. And at that point, I was like, I did the math. I'm like, 950, 1.1. That's $150,000, and I couldn't believe it. I was literally in shock. So,
Wow. Okay. So hold on.
yeah,
There's a lot to uncover there.
yes,
You had the
yes,
fire, you had the eviction. So it's a lot of what they would call like blessings in
in
disguise.
disguise.
Like
Yes.
how did you react to all those setbacks of, man, you just had a deal locked up, it just went through a fire, you finally got the tenants evicted, you renegotiated the deal, which is
Mm.
huge. This is actually a huge takeaway. How a lot of people don't use that as an opportunity to renegotiate the deal, and then your buyer backs out. Like
Everything that could go wrong.
how did
went
that
wrong.
all happen, and what did you have to go through in terms of as an investor? Like they say deals are made, they're not
Mm.
found. Like what did you have to do to get all those pieces back into place?
Patience, man. This was honestly a test of patience and persistence. I would say 100%. People see the check, they're like, "Oh my God, 150,000," but they don't understand what went behind that deal. Like I feel like I truly earned it and worked for it, but I wouldn't say I was lucky. I would say that I was prepared and strategic. And this check just proves to me, all the skills that I've learned throughout the time, all the education that I've had, from sales training to just building rapport, communications, customer service. This was a bit of everything, right? Coming together, showing me, hey, Roberto, you've been waiting, you've been grinding, you've been working. Because I didn't want to give up. I wouldn't lie to you because I had a point. There was a point where I was just like, you know what? Eat your house. I don't want it anymore because it was so many issues. But because I had built such a really great relationship with the homeowner, she really wanted to sell it to me. She trusted me. We built good rapport. I took her to, I picked her up, took her to the post office when she needed it. Her husband was very ill. He got sick at one point, and I helped him out. So a lot went on behind it as far as building rapport with these sellers. It wasn't just, I'm gonna make money off of you and that's it. It was, how can I help you? How can I serve you? Your house just burned down. Are you okay? Do you have a hotel? What do you need? So they saw all that, and after all that, more people try to go around me and try to offer her a deal. But because we had built such a really strong rapport, she really just wanted to sell it to me. So we made that happen. But when I tell you this was work, it was work. But because of patience and persistence, man, we saw it through and it paid off.
Did you ever have a moment of doubt throughout
Yes.
the whole process?
Oh man.
That this 150,000 is not going to come through?
Yeah.
And how did you push through that?
Yeah, it was tough, especially when the buyer had asked to go walk the property. I knew how bad of a condition it was. I was very transparent, though. I showed them photos, videos of the entire property. But to my surprise, when we entered the property, there was water damage that I wasn't aware of. So they didn't turn off the main water line. So I had to pay $400 to a plumber to come in, create a second valve, and shut off the water manually, because there was water. Fortunately, he still saw a good deal out of it, even though the condition was bad. But there was still so much upside potential. We're selling condos 800 to 900. So he's still able to make, in my opinion, over $500,000 on this deal. So it was still a win situation for him. But had I not known that, I could have sold it for a lot less, or I would have seen it as not being a good deal if I just saw it as a regular 3-family. So a lot of understanding of the market really helped too. But man, to answer your question, doubts went through my mind all the time. I prayed about this, I'm not gonna lie. And I said, God, if I get this check for 150,000, I'm gonna give 10% back. Give my tithe. We call it in Spanish, it's called diezmo. So out of this money, $15,000 I already have planned to donate to either churches, to families in need, because I really just want to give back as well. But it was a promise that I gave, to God and to myself to, give back, and it feels good because checks like these, man, you gotta make them worthwhile. So I could have blown it, could have bought some luxury, but I'd rather just give it back.
That's awesome. $15,000, 10% of the check is going to go to charity. Do you know what charity yet?
Not yet. I mean, I do have the villa in Puerto Rico, so I want to give back to the communities in Puerto Rico, the churches. I would love to help young men, especially young fathers, because I was a young father at 20. I had 2 kids. But just helping support one another one way or another, just to give back and continue to, do good. So
You have to, man.
that's the goal.
Karma's gonna come back around, but then this is awesome. Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about your the negotiation pivot where you had to go back and renegotiate the property. Yeah. There was a fire, so obviously there was some damage to the property. You did say the condition was already pretty in a bad shape. Mm-hmm. What was the most challenging hurdle you had to go through in terms of calling her and say, "Look, we've been working on this deal, and I know you want your." I think you had it under contract for 1.15, and then drop it $100,000. That's a big ask.
Yes.
Can you tell the listeners what was the single most challenging hurdle in the negotiations, and how did you overcome that?
Yeah, the challenging part was, when they stay stuck on a number, right? They tell you, hey, I want this price. And I get it. Typically what I've learned is learning how to anchor them. And by anchoring, I mean, give them a price that sounds ridiculous. So at one point I told them, hey, I can offer you 700,000 because of the amount of damage that was on this property, right? And I'm coming down from 1.15. Mm-hmm. Obviously, my number was in the 900 range, but had I told her 900, 950, she probably would have came back up $1 million, right? So when I anchored her, and this is from a book, I forgot the name, but Chris Voss wrote it. I don't know if you remember the book or know the name of that book.
Never Split the Difference.
Never Split the Difference. That book helped me because I was also reading that book as I was dealing with this deal, because I wanted to learn how to become a better negotiator. So anchoring is something that I tested on her. Mirroring was another thing too, speaking the same language as her. So really when I told her like, hey, I understand, it's expensive. How much did the insurance say that it was going to cost? She said 450. So I told her, oh, wow, they must see that there's a lot of damage and there's a lot of construction costs that's going to be needed on this house. She said, yes, I agree. So when she said that, I knew I had her because she understood now, hey, there's a lot of damage that happened to this property. You're getting a $450,000 check. I'm only asking you for like a $250,000 discount. You're still gonna be making more than what I even had originally offered you. So I went about it that way instead of trying to force it on her, and she understood, right? And to me, it was fair, and even to her, she found it fair because of the amount of work that needed to be done. So the negotiation, I was improving obviously as I was doing it,
Right.
um but it really helped me bring that price down a lot. So
That's awesome. You never get what you don't ask for, so I guess
you
you have
don't,
to.
and it's a shot. I mean, you know, if you got to take your shot, you know, I was scared. I thought she was gonna say no, but that's fear of rejection. So to me, it's like, hey, I'm gonna shoot my shot. Ask for 700. The worst she could say is no, and then we meet somewhere in the middle, which is what we did. We met at 950.
That's awesome. Let me ask you this. So REI Lead Pros obviously provides you with a lead.
Yes.
Definitely that was a first step. But you, from what I'm hearing, you executed this thing masterfully from rapport building, negotiations, finding a buyer, having a buyer fall through, having to find another buyer, uh, knowing the market. My question would be, what like how did the quality of working with REI Lead Pros helped you along the way? And I want to say move the deal faster, even though you did say it took you
That's a
some
good one.
time, but it's $150,000 nevertheless.
Yeah.
But how did REI Lead Pros help you close this thing with more confidence? Because I think you mentioned before we were talking before that we started recording, is you said that you had this lead come in,
Yeah.
you called it, and then REI revived it for you. Can
Yeah.
you tell us a little bit more to that?
So, long story short, this property was on the market for 5 years ago.
Oh,
So
wow.
they've been trying to sell it because I had a really good relationship with the seller's attorney,
Okay.
and man, she's been on this deal for years. So it fell through. I had another agent that had presented it to me
Okay.
at one point, but I guess the deal fell through because of the tenants. Nobody was willing to deal with the tenants. So I didn't even pay mine to it. So they wanted 1.5, and I was like, these numbers don't make sense. It's ridiculous.
What was wrong with the tenants? Really quick.
They didn't want to get out. They didn't want to leave. So when you have tenants in a state that's tenant friendly,
Uh-huh.
and they're what we call professional tenants, the law is on their favor. So they understand how to manipulate the system and how to get more time. So something that could take you a month. This is one of the reasons why I stopped investing in Massachusetts and in states that are tenant friendly. And I went to like places like Ohio where it's landlord friendly, and you can evict the tenant within a month, right, at a less cost.
Yep.
Massachusetts is notorious for being tenant friendly, and I get it. Everybody has their rights, but some people abuse those rights. These people were clearly abusing it, and it is what it is. So it took months to deal with these tenants. So investors didn't want to deal with it. So that's where I came in. I was willing to work with them, but we waited the extra time to get the tenants out. Fortunately, what did help us was that fire, which was a blessing in disguise, which had to evacuate everybody else. So while everybody else ran away from the deal, we stayed persistent. This is why we stayed with the deal and why we had it under contract several times. So it was patience more than anything.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. $150,000 assignment fee doesn't just happen by accident. So I'm sure
No.
that you have certain systems, processes, team members in place that are absolutely critical to your success as a business owner, entrepreneur, success of this assignment fee. What are those critical systems that you are currently using? Maybe even REI Lead Pros that we're providing you to help help this close this deal more efficiently. Let me re-ask that question. $150,000 check assignment fee doesn't come by accident. I'm sure there are systems and processes and team members that you have used to make this a success. Maybe even some from REI Lead Pros. What have been some of those processes and systems and team members that helped you make this deal happen?
Yeah, one of the many things I love about REI Lead Pros is really how organized you guys are, right? And everything is systematized, right? So it's like they call, they record the call. I understand what's going on. They provide Zoom. Not Zoom. They provide Zillow numbers, so I understand, what the ARV is. What really helped me is really just we use Asana, the CRM, as a CRM. the deal, like you said, it's made. It was a follow up system that really helped in this case, and I think a lot of people lose track of that when they find a lead or they call somebody for the first time. Maybe they're not ready to sell right then and there, but if you put them and organize them in your CRM to reconnect with them 3 to 6 months, anything can happen in 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
The follow up system is really what helped me with REI Lead Pros. They were really organized and helped me move things so that I would communicate with people effectively and follow up with them when I'm supposed to follow with them. And I would get calendar reminders. So staying on top of this deal and connecting with other homeowners who maybe weren't ready at the time, because let's be real, like you call somebody the first time, they may or may not want to sell. Most of the times they're not ready right away. Even though there may be some motivation, you may have to follow up with them. So this was following up in the making, and really me following up was really what made this deal, just staying on top of it, and it's what helped me build other deals as well. So the leads that I get, patience again, but it's a numbers game. The more people you reach out to, the more chances you get to get a good deal.
The fortune is in the follow-up, man. Fortunes are in the follow-up.
100%.
There's so much money sitting in your CRM right now, and you're
100%.
just letting it sit there because you're not doing the follow-up like Roberto's doing. So I love that, man.
100%.
In terms of this $150,000 assignment check, it perfectly illustrates your ROI, return on your investment of working with a company like REI Lead Pros, which is a high quality lead provider. Can you tell our listeners how do leads from REI Lead Pros, sorry, redo. This deal perfectly illustrates how the potential ROI on working with a company like REI Lead Pros could impact your business. Can you tell us what makes REI Lead Pros fundamentally different from other businesses and other lead sources out there that are cheaper quality sources that you can
Yeah,
use?
of course. It's really, you get what you pay for, right? REI Lead Pros, they provide value. They're really well trained. I can tell you that. And obviously you know it because you train them. But I speaking from someone who's tried cold calling in the beginning, tried other companies as well, the quality is really in the training that you guys provide. It's like this is all they know, all they do. So they have a full understanding of what questions to ask, how to find motivated sellers, but asking them the right questions, right? And then making it so that they don't just get hung up on. They actually, I've listened to a lot of the conversations, and they have genuine conversations with these homeowners, and they know what they're talking about. They know the right questions to ask. They know what to follow up. They know what to say, and really, they're very organized. I haven't seen anybody else as organized as you guys, and it really makes a difference in the business because it makes it so much easier. Instead of me having to spend hours cold calling, hours, figuring out my CRMs, hours trying to train people or train my own virtual assistants and replicate what you're doing. Too much time. I don't have time for that. I just want to, do the negotiation, meet with the people, and get these checks done. So you guys save me a lot of time because you guys already have a business built out specifically for this. So it just made sense.
Love that. And what would you say that time is the most important, I think, valuable asset we have?
It is.
And this is something that I think we use to our advantage in terms of our success. We save our clients time. And what would you say somebody who is looking to make this type of assignment fee down the line in the future? Nothing is impossible. And Roberto obviously just showed you guys that it is possible. What should they be spending their time on versus chasing leads? They can outsource this to somebody like REI Lead Pros. But what should they, as an investor, be spending their time on while we are working on these leads?
If they don't hire somebody to manage the acquisitions like you guys offer, then it's really learning how to become a better negotiator, a better salesperson, a better speaker. Because a lot of this is really building rapport with these homeowners. Like, why should they sell to you? Like, they're getting people that are offering them cash all the time. What makes you any different than them? So again, going above and beyond, and not just looking at people as a number, but what's their actual situation? Are they going through a divorce? Did somebody die in their family? Did they just inherit this property? Understand the full picture. A lot of people, I feel like investors, they get stuck on, oh, I just need somebody that wants to sell and that's it. You're talking to other humans, right? It's a human rapport relationship based business. So while REI Call Center gets you the leads. It's your job, if you decide to do acquisitions, to understand how to communicate with these sellers so that you can actually lock the deal up. And really understanding how to lock the deal up, because I live in Massachusetts, so it's a lawyer, it's an attorney state.
Mhm.
So I had to work with attorneys to get this to happen. Other states, they don't have that, right? You can just go to a title company. So understanding the process of how to go actually close a deal in your specific state is going to be very important. And that really helped me. The preparation, I failed several times, but we finally made it happen, and you learn. And really, that's what helped me put the deal and close it all at once.
I love that you said that you have failed many times, because you did mention this before, how
Yeah.
a lot of people see these big assignment checks and they don't see the work, passion, and most importantly, the mindset, I think, that goes behind getting to this point. So let's talk a little bit about the mindset that requires to close a deal of this magnitude. Like, what are your core beliefs, habits, or maybe a piece of advice that you think that was the most essential to your success that the listeners can get from?
No, 100%. That's a great question. Really, what it comes down to is just never stop learning. You're always improving your skills and always looking to become better. I failed a lot of deals because I didn't know how to speak to these homeowners once I did get the lead, right? And that's the challenge. You speak to them, but then if you're not connecting with them, building rapport with them, you're just another person calling them, because as popular as wholesaling has become, they're getting called every single day. And people get tired of that. So to me, it was really learning how to stand out and just treat people like humans and understanding what their needs are. Really focusing on just improving yourself, being patient. These deals don't come quick. Some may come faster than others, of course, but you have to be patient. It's I had to invest money with REI to make it happen. Sometimes I didn't want to give up. I'm like, what, wholesaling is a scam. It doesn't work. It's not for me. But that's where most people quit.
Yeah.
And if you can get past that and keep going, that's where you start seeing success. Just staying consistent.
Nice. Love
Yeah.
it. And next question is going to be, is holding that, I mean, it's here, but I'm sure there was a point where you actually held that check. I think you sent it to me on IG. How you're like, hey man, I actually did this. What did that moment feel like? So like that payoff impact, and practically speaking, what does an assignment fee of this size allow you to do for your business and your life that smaller deals don't? Let me re-ask that question. So, Roberto, holding that $150,000 check once the deal is all said and done, and you realize this money's in your account, what money like what does money like this help you do to your business, to your life? How does it change things for your business? What's the future business look like for Roberto because of this magnitude of a deal?
So I'll be honest, this check was really humbling, because I got this check when I was literally headed towards zero,
Oh,
you
wow.
know, and I've made six-figure checks before, right? I bought houses, kept them for some time, and then sold them, and I've seen six-figure checks. This one, to me, is life-changing because of my mindset, because I received it when I was supposed to receive it. So I'm not here like, I'm gonna go buy a car. I can buy a Lambo, whatever car that I want. I could put a down payment on whatever. But instead of blowing it, it's one, giving back, and then two, growing it. How do I grow this 150,000 to 250, half a million, $1 million, right? And this is where having the right network comes in play. So really, it's how can I leverage this money to buy more asset producing properties or cash flowing properties. Like I said, I have properties, a villa in Puerto Rico that's performing really well. We make anywhere between $10,000 to $15,000 a month.
Wow.
So to me, this could be really life changing, because now I can purchase 2 or 3 more properties in Puerto Rico, and this could literally be a retirement for me. So instead of me spending it, blowing it, it humbled me, because I received it when I needed it the most. I wasn't expecting it this year. And if I was expecting a check, I was expecting 50,000, of which I would have had to pay back some investors some money, because I have taken losses. But this check, man, it came at the right time. I think God times everything so perfectly. And now it's just, let's grow. Let's just multiply this money, turn it into $1 million, and let's keep growing.
Turning into $1 million. I
Yeah.
100% agree, man. I remember when I first did my $94,000 deal, and just like
Oof.
you were saying, how it's such a great, it's a huge mindset shift, and that allowed me today. I have 14 rentals because of that one deal,
Mm,
bro. Because of that one deal. So definitely, I would love to see what you're gonna do with this. Grow your portfolio in Puerto Rico.
yes.
You have a villa, you said, in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
What do you do in Puerto Rico, just for our listeners, really
Yeah.
quick?
So I help individuals who want to invest in real estate. I focus on investing in Puerto Rico. I've discovered a really good niche, a good market where we buy properties under 500,000,
Okay.
and we buy properties that have at least 5 bedrooms, 2 to 3 bathrooms. They have a pool and or a view. Because I've been able to prove that we can produce anywhere between $10,000 to $15,000 a month, right? So really, it's getting the return that you're looking for, getting the cash flow that can be life changing for somebody. But I walk people through the process to make that happen, so that they can find a better way to find financial independence. Because as we know, real estate has changed. Buying long-term rentals Midwest isn't always the best.
Yep.
So I really believe cold-heartedly in finding better opportunities like short-term rentals, doing it strategically, and even co-living strategies. But finding ways where you can generate good cash flow with today's market, and short-term rentals in Puerto Rico has proven to be really effective.
Can you do off-market deals in Puerto Rico?
Off market, yes, you can do wholesaling in Puerto Rico, but the data isn't all there. It's a lot more difficult. We don't have tools like PropStream, where you can easily access all the data.
It's not there. Propstream is not there yet.
Not there, not at all. The data really staggered. You can wholesale, but it does take more time and patience, which I've learned to grow. So I may be wholesaling in Puerto Rico and flipping in Puerto Rico as well. So that's in the near future.
Got it. Take us back of what, because you've been working with REI Lead Pros for some time.
Yeah.
You actually brought clients, and you partnered up with them, which I thought was freaking cool.
Mhm.
How you brought people in, they paid for the lead generation, and then you did the follow up, which again goes back to your hustler mentality and thinking outside the box. What can you tell the listeners in terms of your experience, since you've been with us for such a long time? Based on that experience, what specifically makes REI Lead Pros an investment that somebody who is serious about wholesaling should consider to get more off-market deals?
Yeah, if you're in wholesaling, I would say the first thing is it's a numbers game, right? I talk to a lot of people. They're like, oh, I can't find a deal. I'm having a hard time. I can't wholesale. I can't flip. And then I asked them, okay, well, how many people are you calling per day, per month? They're like, oh, I'm calling like 100, 150 per month. I'm like, you're never gonna find. I'm like, just quit. I specifically tell them to quit, because if you're gonna do wholesaling or flipping as a part time, or you're gonna take it as a joke, right? Or it's all volume based.
Yeah.
Like we were doing, I think it was 10,000 a month, 10,000 dials per month, and you can do more if you decide to get more VAs.
Yep.
But it's really a numbers game, man, and you got to have real expectations. You can't call 100, 200 people a month and then complain that you don't find a deal. I'll tell you right now, quit and stick to your day job, right? It's the hard truth. So you really got to hit those numbers, and REI allows you to do that, because it's not me going to work 9 to 5 and then doing these calls. You guys are calling specifically in times that are best to call homeowners, which I believe is like 8 to 1 p.m. and then 4 to 8 p.m.
Yep.
But you guys strategically call people during those times. You guys have the follow-up system. You guys record the calls. You guys are able to provide all the data, which takes a lot of time.
Yep.
I'd rather just work, if I'm getting started, save the money, hire REI, and calculate at least 3 to 6 months of working with you guys before, just to start building your pipeline.
Yep.
Right? People that are killing it in wholesaling, ask them when they started. 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. The ones that aren't successful, oh, I started a couple months ago and I quit. Same story. So you have to come in with the mindset you're going to invest money with REI, but if you stay consistent and persistent, these deals are very possible. And they're more probable because now you're not just calling 10,000, but 6 months goes by, you're calling over 60,000 people. You're bound to find a lead throughout that time, right? So that's what I would tell people, to have those expectations. 3 to 6 months with REI, because some people want to sell right away, some people don't.
Yep.
So
I love that. I always tell my clients that if you treat wholesaling like a side hustle, it's going to pay you like one too. You got to treat it like a business. And
Yep.
really, if you cannot commit to at least 3 to 6 months, then you really got to think about it before. I think in any business, just if you cannot
Any
commit
business,
for 3
man.
to 6 months, you're not going to succeed. And if you're looking
No.
for a quick win, definitely this is not what you're going to get. But if you're looking for something that it's going to be a long while and checks like this, you got to put in the time. And based on that information for our listeners, Roberto, that are maybe dreaming about landing a check of this size, to be honest with you, this beats all our records. We had a client who got $100,000 check in the past, but 150 is definitely a record that is yet to be beat now. Roberto is holding the belt. Hopefully we can get a belt in the future. But what would be that one piece of actionable advice? So we did talk about mindset, we did talk about patience, but what would be that one piece of actionable advice that listeners can take from you today that made this deal happen?
I would say focus on discipline more than you focus on motivation.
Oof, love that. Explain it.
I feel like motivation is temporary and discipline is consistent, right? Motivation, you can go to an event, 3-day event. I've gone to them. I get motivated. I get hyped up.
Yep.
It's easy to feel motivated when you're surrounded with so many people and everything's going great. But then when the day-to-day goes by, a lot of people lose that motivation and then they go back to procrastination. They go back to, oh, I'm going to do this later, or I'm not good enough, or the negative thinking comes in. Oh, maybe it's not possible. It's not going to happen. And it happens to me, right? It happens to everybody. Imposter syndrome, lack of motivation, depression, anxiety. We get it. But when you have discipline, you're really passing through all of that, all those obstacles, and you are really focusing on getting success throughout it, because it's not just about the end goal, it's about the journey to get to that end goal, right? Because 150, great, but to me it's like I got this and I'm like, all right, what's next, right? Some people go, oh, 150, I'm good. Now it's like, how can I continue forward? But the discipline behind that, making your calls, time blocking was huge for me. From this time to this time, I'm going to call X amount of people. Do that every single day. Because a lot of the times, it's the things that we don't want to do that we should be doing that's avoiding us or preventing us from getting the results that we really want. And the discipline behind that is really where you start getting those results. Because it doesn't matter what day it is, whether it's raining, and you know what it is. You go to the gym, you're like, I don't want to be at the gym, but you still go. You still get it done. Get the discipline, and you're going to see your life change completely. I promise you.
How do you build that discipline? Because it's easier said than done. You get hyped up, just
It
like you
is.
said, after an event, reading a book, listening to podcasts like this. But how do you really practice that discipline day in and day out and go through the times where, like you said, it's raining, it's cold ass outside. I don't want to go out there and get shit done, but I push myself.
I feel like there's a blessing when you hit rock bottom, and I feel like I've hit rock bottom several times, right? Because you really have nowhere else to go. Like, you're literally back against the wall, and it's either you stay there or you push out of it, right? Because you can't get any lower than rock bottom. So the discipline, to me, it's more of a survival thing at one point.
Wow.
Right? Because it's like, am I going to keep watching my bank account going to zero, or am I going to change it and make something happen? And when you get the discipline out of pure need of survival, that's when you see your life change, right? And some people will never be disciplined. They'll always continue to procrastinate. But when you hit rock bottom and when you go through these trials and tribulations, you're really going to get tested, but it's only going to make you stronger. And the most successful people that I've seen have discipline. They get up at 5 a.m., they work out, they eat healthy, they meditate, they pray. They have a schedule. Like, success is not fun all the time. It's sometimes boring and redundant. We go to the gym. We don't see results right away, but you stay there for 3 to 6 months, you start seeing those results. And it's because of the discipline. So Great question, man. That's
I love
really
it.
a great question.
What's next for you, man? What's I know you said you want to expand
Yes, we're
Puerto
gonna grow.
Rico. You definitely want to get a couple more villas. Are you looking to beat this? Are you looking to maybe get to
I
$200,000
think
now that you got here?
it's doable. I definitely I know it's doable. The thing is, like, you really need to understand the market. You really need to understand what investors are doing. In my market in Boston, certain areas, people are buying properties with 10,000 square feet up to $1 million because they're basically demolishing the properties and then rebuilding to sell 2.5, 3 million plus properties. So understanding what developers are doing, understanding what they're looking for, having conversations with them, it makes it so much easier. The problem is that, especially with social media, I feel like we're so disconnected, even though we're technically connected, because we don't talk to people. But the more you understand of what people need and what people are looking for, the easier it's going to become to tell REI, hey, I specifically need this type of property in this market. Find it because I know what I can sell it for, because I know what it's potentially worth, right? And that's really what helps. Continuing the education, understanding, strategic networking, meeting the right people, and making it happen.
I love that, man. Awesome. Roberto, thank you so much for your time today. This is an inspiring conversation. A lot came out of this. I was super excited to see you make this happen. Of course, it's a huge blessing to have now say that REI has helped you with this, especially that you're going to be donating some of this money. Dude, this is inspiring. How can our listeners connect with you, find you? What's the best way that we can either, well, first of all, how they can connect with you, and second of all, how can they give back? If like, what is it that you need that the listeners could help you with?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more about serving people. For now, I'm offering a free strategy call for individuals just to talk,
Nice. Okay.
connect, focusing on investing in Puerto Rico. But people that want to just need some guidance and they're like, hey, I feel stuck, we could do a quick 30-minute strategy call.
Free.
Yeah,
Cool.
for now. We'll see how the volume picks up. But really, it's just connecting with people, seeing what their needs are, seeing how I can help. If they are interested in investing and want to invest in Puerto Rico, then obviously I have courses for that. We also do fixing and flipping as well, so I can educate them on that as well. But really, you can connect with me on social media at Roberto Green Jr. on Instagram, Facebook. I'm on Facebook as well. TikTok, same handles. But happy to reach out to people, connect with me through the DMs. If I can provide value, help you change your life, or give you some advice, I'm more than happy, because honestly, it was the advice that I got when I was younger that really helped me continue to grow. And it still helps me to continue to grow. So
Awesome. Take advantage of that, guys, because it's not free. I don't want to say anything is free, because when people hear free, they don't anticipate that with value. Roberto is one of the most inspiring individuals, one of the most hardworking individuals. He's helped me along my journey as well. So definitely take advantage of connecting with him now that he's making that offer. Roberto Green, we're going to put the notes in the description with your handle. Roberto, again, thank you so much for your time today. This was amazing.
Of course,
experience. Man. Thank you. I'm looking forward to you beating this $150,000 assignment fee in the very near future and doing this again. But thanks again for being a client, a friend, and an inspiration to everybody that you work for and our listeners.
My pleasure, man. I didn't come to Medellin for nothing.
So, take care, guys.
Awesome.